All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is April 24th, 2025. My name is John Kerrigan. I'm the lead instructor here at BYOB All right, I run the BYOB Trading Room. So, thank you all for being here. Thank you, everybody on podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for finding the value in my content. Hope everybody made some money today. I know a lot of guys made some money. Here in the BYOB Trading Room, we had a nice 10-minute uptrend. We had a nice trend day. All right, SPY breaks the daily downtrend. Have the bears given up? Good question. Hey, I want to thank everybody here in the room, all right, because you guys are paying subscribers, all right? So I don't take that for granted. I try to provide you with excellent trades and content every day. Try my hardest to take care of that. I also offer free coaching. Anybody that's not making money, anybody that doesn't have an account growing, I'm here for you. Let's get it fixed. Let's turn you around. Stop losing money. All right? That's all I'm saying. Let's stop losing money. Let's get it fixed. All right? Maybe trade some paper for a couple of weeks and see if you can get that to grow instead of trading real money. All right? Just saying. All right? Just think about it. All right? So let's go ahead and take a look at some charts today. All right? Today was a really nice day. For everybody here in the BYOB Trading Room, let's take that off. Let's pull this down. All right? This is chart of the SPY. All right? We'll take it on the daily. We'll take it on the 2-hour first. On the 2-hour, what do we have? We got candles and the yellow 3 EMA up over the white 8 EMA on top of the 17 EMA. Okay, that's the green dots here. Okay, so price action, 2-hour uptrend going into the close. Another thing we noticed, bullish gap didn't get filled. Not yesterday's gap, continuation from today. All right, let's take a look at the 10-minute chart. 10-minute uptrend going into the close. What did we trade today? 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, could have stayed in that thing all day. It was a trend day. The trend days run from 11 to noon. If price and the 10-minute uptrend is above VWAP, all right, between 11 and noon, usually 7 to 8 times out of 10, you will get a day that ends near the high of day. Oh my gosh, look at that. Exactly like the trend day. Okay, so there's the 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Okay, on the daily chart, yesterday, guess what? We made a new high yesterday, negating the daily downtrend and converting the daily uptrend right here. Okay, today what do we put in? Higher low, higher high. All right, closing over a bullish trap over the flat 17 right here. Let's put the quad lines on there. All right, so we're breaking through. All right, breaking through the downtrend line right there. Let's move this out of the way. So here's our downtrend line. You can see price action busting through there, giving it a little spike. We'll have to watch the rubber band candle. And the pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP. I just think we got up there and butterfly kissed this thing right here at the end of the day. All right, so right up there near the top, I think we just barely butterfly kissed it. Right now, it looks like there's a little bit of air in between this candle and the 17 and that all-time high anchored VWAP. Let's see what we get for crosshairs. Wow, that's way up there. About 549 on this chart. All right, maybe we got a little bit more to go. All right, so right here we're at the midpoint. Okay, so for the quad lines, all right, let's look at it. Quadrant 1 right down here. Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, Quadrant 4. All right, so we're at the midpoint, midfield, half court. Okay, so that's neutral. All right, price goes up, gives it up. That's neutral. Price goes down, gives it up. That's neutral. All right, so there's SPY on the daily chart. On the 2-day chart, still in a downtrend. On the 3-day chart, still in a downtrend. On the weekly chart, still in a downtrend. On the monthly chart, still in an uptrend. All right, so there's SPY. All right, let's take a look at the game plan. Really didn't need the game plan today, okay? Why? All you needed was these instructions right here. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, tradable event. All you need is green erases red, okay? So here's the day starting out, okay? You had the overnight price action. Let's take a look at it with some overnight price action on there. All right, on the 5, let's see. Doesn't want to give us the overnight. Let's try this one. No overnight price action. Huh. Gonna be difficult today. All right. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, overnight price action. And we got it. Came in a little late, okay? So we came in over the overnight price action. Right there, that is green erases red entry right there on the first candle. Second candle. All right, second candle right there. See the green candle? What do we like? We like a solid green candle. Preferably, okay, we don't want any topping wicks. All right, so, wow. This thing's moving up there. We don't like any topping wicks. Anything that's got more wick than body and tail. That doesn't interest us because, well, the bears have control. Because if there's more wick than body and tail, then the bulls went up and the bears pushed it way back. So we don't want that candle. We don't want any spinning tops, okay? That's just bulls and bears having a battle at the same spot. All right, we don't want any dojis because that says rest, and that means they're both satisfied with the status quo. So that doesn't work for us, all right? We don't want any red candles because we want a 10-minute uptrend. All right, so here we go. We got the first candle right there, and you could have bought this, and you could have held it till the end of the day right there. Look at this rally into the close, 547.80. Wow. All right, so nice day for the 10-minute. All right, and if you want to look at the game plan, you can see here's your green erases red right there. There's another entry right there. Okay, if you didn't take this one, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, you could have taken the green erases red right here and made some more dough or some more profits right there. SPY pivot for today was 539.45. We slipped right through it, okay? The green erases red entry was 543.90. Price ended the day, you can see 547.50, 547.60, and went as high as 549.50 all the way up there, okay? So there's price action for the 10-minute. The game plan works. As you can see, you could have traded the game plan. You could have traded the I like uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. That would have worked for you just as well, okay? I had a nice day today, nice whopper day. Let me see if I can find that. And quick access. Here's my day. A little blurry, okay? Traded some 560 calls. Yeah, I made a few daily goals. Traded some 550 calls. Yeah, I made a few daily goals. All right? Closed out some puts that were underwater. All right? Some 500 puts. Took a little hit on that one. Should have held on to my Google. All right? But I just wanted to strip some profit because we were kind of moving down a little bit and made a little bit of cash on those, okay? So that's my trading day for the day. Here it is, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. It's a beautiful thing. It's our flagship trading strategy, all right? We do this. This is our most basic trading strategy. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. And we like to see it when VWAP is pointed up and price is pulling away, all right? Our most basic trading strategy. All right, let's go take a look at QQQ. Enough bragging for me. All right, QQQ, same deal. All right, what do we like? 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. If you didn't want to trade SPY, you could have traded QQQ. All right, nice 10-minute green candle up over VWAP. Green erases red. Where's the red? Where do you see the red, John? I don't see any red. Where's the red? All right, pre-market high comes from this high down to there, okay? So the bulls come in, all right? Here come the bulls. They're the green guys, all right? And see the green eclipse the red? What is that, like a 10-to-1 risk-reward ratio right there? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Look at that. Green erases red. Where's the entry? Just like SPY, right here. Right where green eclipses the red. If you didn't like this one, you didn't have to trade this one. You could have traded the green eclipses the red here. All right, 462.50. And you could have had an entry right there. And rode that up from 462.50, clear up to, well, darn near 470. All right, it's a nice rip there. Another $8 rip on that. Okay, I like 1 day or 8 day Friday. Okay, 1 day till expiration or 8 days till expiration Friday options. All right, I like Friday options because they have more open interest, and I like the increments of 5. So in other words, 445, 450, 455, 460. Okay, if you look in the options and you want to see which ones have the most open interest, all you got to do is slide this over, slide, come on, work with me. Slide this over. You look at open interest. Okay, let's go at the money. We're at 465. Let's find 465. Okay, these are zeros, so let's go out to the ones. This is Friday. Okay, we're down here at 465. All right, see, 12,000. All right, and then a couple of thousand, and then at 460, 11,000. All right, 470, 10,000. Okay, go out 5 more, 6,000. Okay, there's more open interest. All right, when you want to get in and out with very little slippage, you want a lot of open interest. All right, because that's what helps you get in and out with very little slippage. You want your stops to work, all right, pretty close to the number you set them on. You don't want a lot of slippage. That means you want something that's got a lot of open interest. In other words, there's a tight bid-ask spread, like maybe close to 1 or 2 pennies. All right, that's what you want. Well, that's what I want, all right? So that's why I pick Friday expirations in increments of 5. Okay, increments of 5 work better for me. All right, and I like $5 to $20 out of the money because I started a new account. All right, 27,000 on Monday. Okay, I think that thing's up to 42 as of today. All right, so 27,000. So I like cheap options, all right? Because if you buy in the money options, thanks, Mel. If you buy in the money options, they're going to cost you more, all right? And you got more risk, all right? So I like out of the money options, all right? Out of the money options work best for me. I got less risk and I can get more of them, all right? So there's QQQ, all right? So what do we like? Flagship trade right there. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. It's a winner. All right. There's QQQ. Let's check out the daily chart. All right. Hit the scratch. Here's the daily chart. Okay. What do we got? Looks like a lower low and a higher high. So an outside day closing over a bullish trap over the flat 17. Just under all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Right at the midpoint. No longer bearish, okay? And I got to tell you, they just negated the downtrend. QQQ negates the downtrend. SPY negates the downtrend. Okay, let's go check out FNGA. All right, here's FNGA. FNGA negates the downtrend. Look at that. There's the high. They made a higher high. Higher low, higher high, now in an uptrend. So we got SPY in an uptrend. We got QQQ in an uptrend. We got FNGA in an uptrend. All right. FNGA no longer in the lower third, so it's neutral. Let's go back to QQQ. QQQ no longer in the lower third, so that's neutral. All right, and in an uptrend, neutral in an uptrend, QQQ, neutral in an uptrend, SPY, neutral in an uptrend, FNGA. All right, neutral and in an uptrend. Okay, so there's FNGA. Let's take a look at IWM. That's the Russell 2000. Okay, so no uptrend. All right, we did get it a lower high and a lower low. And we closed over a bullish trap and over, see the dots, over the 17 EMA. This is this pink line up here. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. And we closed under the pink all-time high anchored VWAP. And we're still in the lower third, so we're still bearish, okay? Okay, you go up, you give it up, that's neutral. You go up, you give it up and more, that's bearish. So in the lower third, that's bearish. In the upper third, that's bullish. In the middle ground is neutral. Okay? They're still in the lower third, so they're bearish. There's IWM. All right? Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Dow Jones 30, now Dow Jones Industrials. All right? What did the Dow do today? Dow gave us a lower high and a lower low, closed over a bullish cross, closed over the 17, all right? So closed over a falling 17, closed under the downtrend line, closed under the all-time, that's the pink line, the all-time high anchored VWAP, no longer in the low, no longer in the lower third, so that's neutral, all right? You go down and you give it up, that's neutral. All right, go down, give it up, neutral. All right, so there's Diamond Dow on the daily chart. All right, so getting a little turnaround here in the markets. Hopefully, we can hold the higher ground. Okay, 1, 2 candles doesn't make a trend. Okay, we want to see multiple candles. All right, we want to see multiple days. I want to see them hold the higher ground for 5 days. Okay, that's what we need to see. Okay, see how they went down here? They couldn't hold the lower ground. Well, we like that if we're bulls. If you're a bear, you don't like it. Okay, you want them to get it down here and hold. Okay, so let's take a look at technicals. T2122. Well, we spent the day encampment, okay, in the buy zone. Okay, nice work there for the bulls. Just camped out all day, drinking the bear's wine, encamped right here in the buy zone. All right, that's bullish. T2123, okay? Yesterday looked like we were waking up or somebody took the adjustable bed and raised the head up just a little bit. Are we waking up here? We got a higher high. That's what I needed to see. We got a bullish gap that didn't get filled. I like that. We were green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. I like that. We're up over the flat 200, all right, on the 15-minute chart. I like that. Okay, still looking like a flat line bear flag, though. Just saying, it's still looking, all right? But we are moving, and we are seeming to waking up from this comatose flat line that we had, all right? So we'll see how far we get, all right? Is it a false breakout? Can they give us some follow through with this? I do like consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, and let's just look at that. It's a little bit sloppy, but let's just point it out. Okay, it's not really nice consolidation. It's kind of sloppy if you ask me, but there it is, consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, that's a bullish environment. Up over the 200 SMA, that's a bullish environment. Okay, But just remember, this is only on the smaller time frame, okay? We need to see this transcend into the bigger time frame, okay? Right now, it's a little bit premature, okay? On the small time frame, yeah, we're getting some good news, okay? We like it, all right? Got a bullish gap that didn't get filled. That's a bullish gap didn't get filled by the bears. That's a bullish environment, okay? So we're going to look in this bullish environment for 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. Those are the ones that are going to work in the bullish environment. When you see a day or price action showing you bullish environment, you want to look for the bullish 10-minute trend over VWAP, okay? Because that will be supported by the environment, all right? Remember they say, stick with the trend, all right? So you look at the environment, what is it showing you? It's bullish, okay? Got a bull gap that didn't get filled, all right? That's a bullish environment, all right? So we'll continue to look for 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, all right? We might not find any tomorrow, but that's just the breaks. That's the way it is, all right? But as long as they continue to show us and present a bullish environment, eventually one's going to show up for us. All we got to do is be patient, be disciplined, and wait for our trade to formulate for us. All right, so there's T2123. All right, let's take a look at, what do we want to look at? T2123 3-bar chart. Yeah, you can see still kind of flat, all right, from a distance. I'm sure if I zoom in here, it looks a little different, but still kind of flat. All right, what do we got? We got 3 green candle bars today. That is different, okay? We haven't seen that in a long time. Okay, we haven't seen that since, well, the middle of February. See that? 3 green candle bars in a row. All right, what we are showing is a little mini bull flag, all right, where the flag is 10 times longer than the flagpole, okay? That's inside of a bear flag, a huge bear flag right there. Okay, so we're starting to make some higher highs, okay? Still got to take out, I want to see this high right there. Got to get up there, all right? It's nice we're up over the 17. Yes, that's cool. All right, I want to see some higher highs. I want to see them test the ground and take out that high. We'll see what happens. So that's T2123, all right, starting to wake up here, all right? They lifted up the head yesterday, all right, elevated the adjustable bed. Now maybe he's going to get up and walk around finally, all right? T2123, let's take a look at FNGA. On the 15-minute chart, all right, green, see the green 17 from the beginning to the end of the day. Nice rip, all right. Rip right up over VWAP and just continue to run for the whole day, all right. We finally did what? We finally made a higher high. Hallelujah, right? Finally got some higher high. And we got a bullish gap that didn't get filled. That's nice. Another bullish gap didn't get filled. Another bullish gap didn't get filled. Okay? They're showing us a bullish environment. Will we have some pullbacks? Yes. All right? But we're going to wait for that 10-minute uptrend in this bullish environment. All right? And one will show up. All right? Probably get some consolidation. And then one will show up eventually. We are up over the flat 200 SMA. We're still underneath. See the pink line? That's the all-time high VWAP. Nice thing is we're no longer in the lower third. See the lower third right there? No longer in the lower third because that's the bearish area. Okay, so we're breaking out of that. We're making higher highs. We're not getting bullish gaps. Aren't getting filled. All right, we're starting to see some of the right stuff visualize itself here. Okay, did we fill this gap? Yes. So we filled this gap too. So we filled this one. We filled this one. It's a beautiful day for the market and the bulls. There's FNGA. Did D21 take a look? Yeah, Mel, we did T2122. We did it right here in the buy zone all day. We just camped out inside the buy zone. All right, drank all the bears' wine and their beers. All right, in the buy zone, hanging out with the bulls. All right, FNGA. All right, nice work there. Okay, now this is an important one to us, the FNGA. Why? Because it's got 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ, that's the NASDAQ 100, and the SPY, that's the S&P 500. Okay, so it's got the top 10 in there. Okay, so these 10 happen to be, I think, in the top 20 of those two indexes. So when these guys move as a pack, okay, they can jerk those two indexes with them. Doesn't matter what the other 80% of the stocks are doing. They could all be moving down. If this is going up, it's going to jerk the index up. It's amazing how much weight those 10 have inside of those indices. All right, so there's FNGA. All right, let's go take a look at some sectors. First sector let's look at XLE. XLE. Here's our energy sector. And we need it on the daily chart. Okay, so what do we got? Inside day, lower high, higher low. Closing over the bullish trap. Closing over, see the falling 17. Okay. Okay, in a downtrend, but look, not moving down, moving up. Okay, in a downtrend, not moving down. Okay, moving up as opposed to down in a downtrend. Okay, it's moving up. See it make higher lows? See these tails? See the bottoms of these bodies? See how they kind of keep moving up higher. Okay, so price action, I'm going to call it no longer in the lower third right there. So XLE back to neutral land. All right, still has not, it's got to break this right here. If it breaks that, they can negate the downtrend. It's just a label. All right, don't get hung up on it. All right, so price action on XLE, it's 12-month. I think that's an all-time high. No, I don't think so. Maybe that's an all-time high. No, that's a 12-month high. All right, 12-month high right there. Right there, 12-month high. Actually, yeah, 12-month high. Anchored VWAP still underneath that, still underneath downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2, underneath the midpoint, no longer in the lower third, so we're neutral, okay? You go down and you give it up, that's neutral. All right, so there's XLE. All right, still in a downtrend, but neutral. All right, just barely neutral. All right, let me just say that. Just barely neutral. Okay, it's like they peek their head through the doorway. All right, so there's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. All right, here's the oil fund. Inside day, higher low, lower high, closing over a bullish trap, under the falling 17, under, this is a 3-year high anchored VWAP, all the way back to, this is our post-COVID high right there. Okay, 3-year high. Underneath that, it's close. I'm going to give it to them, all right? So just neutral for today, but I'm just saying, just barely, all right? Not really enough. They're still in a downtrend, all right? Still in a downtrend and just barely not in the lower third. It's borderline, all right? Maybe by a hair. That's it. So USO, neutral. Again, moving down and giving it up, that's neutral. Okay, moving down, giving it up. In a downtrend, but not moving down. Notice it's moving up. Okay, let's take a look at UNG. All right, UNG. Got to pick UNG up off the floor here. Okay, see the UNG. Lower high, lower low. Closing under the bearish trap, under the falling 17. There's the red dots. Closing under, that's a 12-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, back in February of 2024. Closing under that, down here in the lower third, so that's bearish. And still in the downtrend because it's making lower highs and lower lows. Let's take a look at GLD. All right, GLD, higher low, higher high, closing above a bullish trap, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the rising 17 up here in quadrant 4. All right, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Take a look at silver. Silver putting in an inside day. It's a higher low, lower high, closing over a bullish trap, over that hooking 17, over that 6 month, and this is also a 12-year high anchored VWAP right here. Okay, closing up over that. Believe it or not, this thing's still in a downtrend. All right, still in a downtrend. It's just not moving down. All right, it's still in a downtrend. In order to negate the downtrend, it's weird. They got to take out this high up here. They got to take out that high right there. All right, in order to negate the down, because they haven't made a higher low. All right, if they made a higher low then took out that high, they'd have an uptrend. But right now they're still in a downtrend, even though they've recovered almost 90% of it. Right there, they're just in a downtrend, but they're not moving down. All right, so this is the high that's over the 17 right there. Okay, this is all still part of this upward momentum right here. So there's silver on the daily chart, still in a downtrend, but up in quadrant 4. That's bullish, up over the 6 month high anchored VWAP. Silver's looking good up here. Okay, so there's silver on the daily chart. Okay, let's take a look at SMH. All right, SMH. All right, finally. Okay, can't have a decent rally without technology and SMH. Really, you can't. I mean, you can't put, because, I mean, what? So you're going to have a rally under healthcare? Ain't going to happen. All right? Maybe it goes for 2 days, and then that's it. All right? That's all it's going to go, okay? You want a decent rally, you want a nice recovery, it's going to start with SMH and technology. Okay, so here's SMH. All right, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap or a bullish cross, closing over the falling 17, no longer in the lower third, so that's neutral. They made a high, see this high that poked through the 17 right there? So they made a higher high, so they just today, they negated the downtrend and converted the uptrend right there. That right there today at the end of the day. See that? That last push negated the downtrend. All right? And not only that, it got them out of bearish territory. Now they're in neutral. Okay? See if they can hold it. All right? SMH. Under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the downtrend line. No longer bearish, just neutral. Again, you go down, you give it up, that's neutral. Let's take a look at XLK. It's technology. All right, putting in, guess what? All right, they negated their downtrend too, so they're now in an uptrend. See that poke over the 17, and they made a higher high right there. Okay, they didn't have it yet. They didn't have it yesterday or this morning, but look at what they did today. Okay, they just negated their downtrend, and they're no longer bearish. They're neutral as well. Okay, so XLK. Closing, I got to say, that's over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Not by much, but they did do it. All right, so that's in an uptrend, starting a new uptrend, and neutral right there, XLK. Things are looking good if we can just hold on to this for 5 days. Let's take a look at XLF. All right, XLF in an uptrend. See the high right there? They made a higher high, so XLF in an uptrend. XLF no longer, not even in the lower third. It's neutral. Okay, not in the upper third, not in the lower third. So it's just neutral. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's looking good. All right, closing over the midpoint, making a higher low and a higher high. That's bullish right there. All right, price action was a lower high and a lower low, but closing over a bullish trap and over the flat 17. Let's take a look at transports. Transports, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, closing over the falling 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. You know, I'm a nice guy today. I feel good. Did well today. I'm going to say no longer in the lower third. All right. So we're just going to call it. We're going to give it to them today. All right. And they're still in a downtrend. Okay. They're still in a downtrend, but they're in neutral territory. Again, just by a hair. All right. Just by a hair. All right, I'll take questions in the room. If there's no questions, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Hope you all had a good day. I hope you all made some money. If you didn't make money today in this room, all right, you need to call me. You need to say, John, I need some help. Can we set up a coaching session? Today was the easiest day. It was a 10-minute uptrend right out of the gate till the end of the day. All right, so if you didn't make money today, please get with me. Let's not let another day like this pass you by. All right, let's clean up those mistakes. All right, let's get this done. Let's get you on the right track. I offer free coaching, so let's make it happen. All right, I don't want to see you lose another opportunity like this. All right, Brad did a daily. Brad got a daily goal. Love it. Love it, guys. Love it, everybody. All right, guys. Okay, so everybody out there, podcast land, digital land, cyber land, thank you. Everybody here in the room, thank you. Again, I don't take either one of those groups in the room, not in the room, all right, for granted. All right. I try to offer valuable content that's actionable every single day. Thank you for following me. Thank you for subscribing. I'll see you guys all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Everybody have a beautiful evening.